Hi. Just a random stream. I'm sitting in front of a fan because it's hot and I wanted to do this outside. I hope everyone can hear me. I will wait a minute or two. There are two of you here. Can anyone hear me? Anyone? Bueller in the chat. Can you hear the lawnmowers? All right. Hey guys. So if you're new to my channel, this is probably the video for you. If you're not new to my channel, this is going to be unlike anything I've done before, because I feel like we need to reach out to some of these people who are seeing what's going on out here with the media and the Depp Heard trial. What the heck is coming next, right? So I've been watching this. I watched the trial extensively in my spare time because I found it very interesting for so many different reasons, whether they be culturally or, you know, from a legal perspective, which you guys know, legal is kind of my thing at Uncover DC. So I've been watching it, and I've been watching Rakita Law and all the, you know, Legal Bites and all the channels that are covering the case or were covering the case. And I found something really interesting. And I want everybody to, for a second, put yourself in Johnny Depp's shoes, okay? Just for a second, we're going to do an exercise where you are now Johnny Depp, and for 6 years, the media, Hollywood, women, men, everybody has believed that you have been assaulting your ex-wife or had been assaulting your ex-wife incessantly in vulgar and horrible ways, and that she was a victim. But you knew in your heart of hearts that that wasn't true. However, the machine was just so powerful that there was nothing that you could do to stop it. Imagine how that feels. It's terrible. We are all Johnny Depp. We are all Johnny Depp. And so now we've got a bunch of folks who have been watching this and have come to realize that actually, after watching this absolute shit show of a trial, it's not Johnny Depp who was the abuser. It was actually Amber Heard that was the abuser, accusing Johnny Depp of being abused. And there was all this evidence paraded out in court, and the media was trying desperately to control what people were watching, but people really craved good analysis on this case. They wanted to see it for themselves. It's one of the reasons why Johnny Depp pushed to have cameras in the courtroom and Amber Heard didn't want them. Johnny Depp wanted everybody to see and hear this, the general public, because much more so than a trial for money for him, I would venture to guess that this was a trial to clear his name in the general public's eye. And I think that on top of winning the jury, he was wildly successful at doing that. But if the legacy media would have had their way, that never would have happened. And so now, a lot of you may have stumbled across this video and you're like sitting there like, why? First of all, why are they making this a political issue? It's not a political issue. This is right versus wrong, right? I mean, you've got a man who's accused of being an abuser and a woman who says that she was abused, but really it was a role reversal. It's not political. That's a case of victims being victimized over and over again, right? So the media is trying to spin this as some like Johnny Depp is a right-wing guy, and so the right is all out behind him. And a lot of people who aren't Republican or conservative are like, no, actually, that's not what's going on here. I'm not conservative. I hate Republicans with a passion. I hate them. And how dare you try and call me that? This is one thing that we can all kind of agree on. The only reason I think why conservatives were able to cast aside a lot of what Johnny Depp had said in the past is because of our really deep yearning for justice. And so it's telling to me how people are finally experiencing this for themselves in a way that's not political in nature, right? Because usually it's, oh, Donald Trump bad, Republicans bad, criminals, you know, insurrectionists, blah, 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 blah. But now it's like, well, these are two movie stars, and I happen to like one of them a lot. And maybe I didn't like him so much before, but after seeing what he's gone through, I really do like him a lot. And I saw with my own two eyes the facts and the data in this case, and what you're telling me is true is just not true. Guess what? Is it so far outside of the realm of possibility to think that it's not only this that you've been lied to about? Hell, I don't want the people out there who realize that the media has been a tool to try and propagandize them to the Me Too movement against men to be conservatives if they don't want to. I don't really give a crap about that. That's not what this is about. This is about literally truth, fact, and what's right. And if you've got a bunch of people in one of the most fully funded, multi-billion-dollar organizations in the world trying to cram something down your throat that you know to be patently false because you witnessed it with your own two eyes, what else have you missed? Is it possible that there are other things that they lied to you about? I say yes. Everything. Literally. Again, you don't have to come join, quote, our side, whatever that is, but maybe take a second to reflect on this happenstance and say to yourself, maybe everything they've been pumping into my brain for the past 6 years isn't really all what it's wrapped up to be. Perhaps take another moment or two and revisit some of the things you were told were abject conspiracy theories, only to find out a year or so later were actually true. Understand that the Amber Heard model of media is not where it ends. Okay, it's not just culture that they want you to fall in lockstep with, although we're getting barraged with that every single day. And hopefully now you're going to be a little bit more cautious. But it's across the board. We're not allowed to agree on anything, guys. Liberals, conservatives, we can't even agree that a man was abused by a woman incessantly for how many years without them coming in and trying to polarize it with politics, because you're supposed to hate us so much, left, that you can't agree with us on anything. Otherwise, it makes you one of us, which I think is absolutely absurd. And I think that you should too. But there's a precipice here, an opportunity not to be the same, not to agree on everything, not to be one and one next to each other. But there are just some things that maybe we should be able to come to some common ground on, right? Just some. Some things are not what they seem and haven't been. And if I could show you facts and data and information to prove to you, like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case, that those things that you've been force-fed all of this time are false, would you be open now that you've experienced this for yourselves to at least take a look at this stuff and then come to a conclusion based on your own brain instead of what they're pumping into it? Not your fault. It's easy. They're the media. They're supposed to tell the truth. I thought so too, until I did my own homework, realized that they don't tell you the truth about anything. Even right-wing media doesn't tell you the truth about much. Corporate media, I should say. So out of the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial has sprung this glorious community of lawyers who's trying to educate America on the facts behind the case. Procedures, how it works. I mean, why shouldn't we understand what our legal system is like and how it works in civil and criminal cases, right? There's no reason we should. Who was doing that for you? They weren't. The media wasn't. The media was saying, oh, poor Amber Heard. And now you've got the Washington Post. I mean, talk about hubris, guys. The Washington Post, right, who was the reason for all of this in the first place and published the op-ed not written by Amber Heard. Come on, facts be damned. Coming out and saying that some of these people that were covering this trial in a wildly effective manner, thereby ripping you from the propaganda grasp of the Washington Post, are right-wing influencers making money off the case, which is supposed to be a bad thing. I don't understand that either. That's another story for another day. That are really just polarized to one side of the political spectrum, and that's why they were doing this, because conservatives are all of a sudden big Hollywood supporters and big Depp fans. So she attacks them, but the problem is she does her shoddy reporting the way they've done with everything else. She does her shoddy reporting the way they have done with everything else. Now, normally, when it's just a normal right-leaning person that she chooses to attack, the left piles on, and, you know, we just get the elbow into the back, even though everything in there is just nonsense. But this time, that didn't happen because A, everyone got to see it for themselves and used an open mind, and B, the people she was attacking weren't conservatives. Oops. So they spoke up. to the point where even CNN realizes that if they don't say something, that you guys will leave them too. So they piled on. Stelter and Darcy attacking Taylor Lorenz in the Washington Post. I never thought I'd see the day. But the reason they're doing it is not because they care about what's true and what's false. The reason that they're doing it is because they don't want to lose their grip on you. That is just the bottom line. May sound crazy, may sound conspiracy theory-ish, but you have now lived it for 6+ weeks. Column after column after column, just sympathetic to Amber Heard, trying to make up excuses for the lies she told, and on and on and on and on and on. You saw it with your own 2 eyes, and you were open-minded enough to listen. And that, friends, is what we have been lacking in American discourse for a long time. And I think in terms of what, we need to do, it's time that stop right now. Again, no one is asking you to switch sides. All we're asking for is that if you realize somebody's lied to you once, there's a damn good chance they've done it a bunch more times than that. So maybe it's time to reset, clear your minds, and look at some of the things you've been lied to in the past over again with a fresh perspective. What do you say? Is it really all that bad to learn that maybe you were wrong about some stuff, and then that'll help you shape better decisions moving forward? That's why I started my outlet Uncover DC, was because I saw this going on both sides, and I said, holy moly, this isn't right. That's why I have gray hair now, you see, because it's stressful. It's stressful trying to get people to just take a look at something objectively without some kind of crazy extremist propaganda being slammed in their faces everywhere. The time is now. If not now, when? I'm going to take a look at my comments for a second before I move on to the next thing. What's going on? Great to remind. Oh, one of the things that I want to talk about is this. Hold on. I'm going to play out a scenario for you, okay? And then I want you guys to be objective about what you think about that scenario. Someone is accused of a crime. It could be Johnny Depp. It could be anyone. They're accused of a crime. They're arrested for the crime. They go through the process and they maintain their innocence. But the people that arrested them threaten their family. If you don't say that you did this, we're gonna harm your family. We're gonna drag them through the legal system too. And the person who's been arrested for something that they didn't do and they know they didn't do looks around and says, well, should I take the hard knocks and suffer, or should somebody else have to do it? Should I drag my family through this nonsense too? Or should I just take the hard knocks and suffer, right? At the end of the day, they decide they're going to take the hard knocks and suffer, and they plead guilty. But they figure something's not right here. They find some things, their attorneys find some things, and they decide that there's further investigation that needs to be done because the evidence that exonerates them is overwhelming. And so a sense of justice comes over. Why should I have to go to jail for however long for something I know I didn't do because I'm up against the most powerful system in the entire world trying to pound me into the ground? So they dig and they dig and they dig. And the government that brought the charges against them sits back and says, you know what? You're right. This is terrible. We really made a big mistake here. I want to drop the charges against you. Let's go to the judge. We're so sorry. This was a huge error. We're not going to charge you anymore with this. It was our mistake. We're so sorry. They drop the charges, but the judge refuses and says, no, I'm not going to let you drop the charges because I feel like you did it. Even though wants to hold you in violation of a law anymore because you didn't break the law, and there's overwhelming evidence that shows you didn't break the law. And even the Justice Department that brought the charges against you says you didn't break the law, but the judge in the case doesn't like you and doesn't like your family and doesn't like what you stand for. So the judge unilaterally decides on his own that he's not going to allow the Justice Department to drop the charges against you. So now you're stuck in a situation where you're being prosecuted for a crime that even the people that brought the charges agree you are innocent of, but you're going to be forced to be accountable for something you didn't do anyway. And for good measure, the judge brings in somebody else who hates your guts more than words can even explain to bolster the case for why the judge shouldn't let the Department of Justice drop the charges against you. That happened. His name was General Michael Flynn. And that's the story. in a nutshell. Those are some of the things that you've been lied to about over the past 5 years. And the list goes on and on, from the 2 weeks to slow the spread to so many other things that you have been pounded and pummeled with this information about that is just not true. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm just asking for you to take a step and a seat, open the mind a little bit, and read more. If they lie to you about one thing, just like Camille said, if they lie to you about one thing, then they're lying to you about everything. If Amber lied about one thing, she lied about everything. If the media will lie to you about one thing, that's like about a Hollywood celebrity. You don't think they're going to lie to you about everything? Think again. Just open your mind. You don't have to be on my team. All I'm asking for is a level playing field for once, because we've been lied about like Johnny Depp for years, and it hurts. And it sucks to look over and know that there's somebody next to you who hates you for no reason whatsoever. It's absolutely terrible. We don't hate you. We just want you to open up your mind. And once you have the real facts and data in front of you, just like you got to witness the Depp Heard trial, if then at the end of that, you still feel like Kathy Griffin does, that Amber Heard is guilty, or XYZ is guilty, or so-and-so is telling a lie, then fine. But at least take the step to begin the process of going through some of the major life-changing things that have gone on in this country over the past several years, and reevaluate those things for a second and see what you come up with. I bet your mind is absolutely blown. Now's the time. It's no time like the present. So that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at my comments. Can you sue a judge? Yes, you can. Yeah, there is like this overwhelming like media explosion of trying to demonize Johnny Depp because he won, and then demonize the jurors. You think doxing is scary when you're like an individual? These poor jurors, even though their identities are under seal, you don't think that there's a gazillion Taylor Lorenzes out there like searching through, trying to find out who these people are and destroy their lives for the decision that they made? That's what they've done all over the place. I mean, that happened in the George Floyd case. Whatever the verdict of that is, they intimidated those jurors in that case. I mean, whatever the decision was is fine. That's one thing. But the actions taken before it would make your... If you're chilled by what happened in the Depp Heard case, that would make your blood freeze over. And I'm not being hyperbolic here. Like, these things are going on. And again, if you look at them and you decide that, you know what, I don't agree, like I still believe X, Y, or Z, then fine. That's fine. Nobody's trying to, bully you into changing your mind about stuff. But I am trying to say that you're not being told the truth about 99% of what's happening in our world around us right now. And it's just the way it is. And I needed to get in on this because I've done this before, when the WikiLeaks emails came out and Bernie Sanders supporters realized very suddenly that they were being bamboozled and lied to as well, en masse, by their own political party. And you know what? The Republicans suck too, okay? Not about Republican and Democrat. We've written pieces on bad Republicans. We've written pieces on bad Democrats. I'm obsessed with law. I spend like 90% of my time reading legal, and it's just something that I love. And so I'm very familiar with how things work. And I could have done analysis on the Depp Heard trial the entire time. I think all around, we just need a little bit of a level set and even playing field. And now is a really good opportunity to get there, because you have just gone through something that lets you experience it firsthand. Like, there are radical people who I self-identify as radical feminists who are saying something's just not right here with this. And that person is not, I'm not expecting, nor do I want that person to all of a sudden morph into some conservative activist overnight. That's not what this is about. We need a balance in this country of ideas and discussion. But the problem is that we haven't been allowed to have a discussion. We've been squelched and banned and pushed away. They're going to try and do it to LawTube now too. They're too powerful. Just you wait and see. I'm telling you, this is the beginning of something really beautiful. And if I were you, I would be jumping on the side of being on Team Justice because we're not going to have very many more opportunities like this to really experience what's been going on and do something about it. The corporate media can no longer be the beacon of truth and justice when they're not truthful and they do not give a lick about justice. They don't. Comments. Anybody have any questions before I jump off of this quick little live stream? If you're interested in learning more about me or my organization, you can go to uncoverdc.com. And you can just subscribe to YouTube. I do a podcast 3 days a week, and it's always up here on YouTube as long as it's something that they won't censor me for. Otherwise, it's on all alternative platforms that you've probably been told are horrible bastions for hate and extremism, but are actually just a place where we can go to have some discussion about very important issues that are affecting us in this country without fear of us uttering a word that is unacceptable and being banned. That's all I've got, guys, for today. Thank you for joining me. 20 minutes. Share this all over the place. Share it with your friends. Share it with your left-leaning friends. Share it with your right-leaning friends. It's time for us to realize that there is shit going down that we need to join together about. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I've got my coffee. I've got my phone. I'm sitting out here today in front of a fan monitoring all of this and doing some work on some actual journalism. Let's join together and take care of this nonsense, and I will see you soon. Mwah!